Your Excellencies, the President of the United States.
Let's get this over with.
Welcome to the Resident-in-Chief highlights, where we run through some clips of Joe Biden being Joe Biden. Today we're going to start with Joe Biden giving the Presidential Medal of Freedom to Nancy Pelosi, John Kerry, and Jim Clyburn. Who knows why any of them would be receiving this award, but I doubt it really matters.
Nancy Pelosi will be known forever as the greatest Speaker of the House in American history.
Go throw up.
As Secretary of State, he worked for peace, negotiated arms control, and forged the historic Paris Agreement on climate change.
On that issue, pollution, I understand that you came here with a private jet. Is that an environmental way to travel?
If you offset your carbon, it's the only choice for somebody like me who is traveling the world to win this battle.
I'm special.
He built on that work as the first ever special presidential envoy for climate. His bold and relentless public service reflects his enduring belief in America, where our best days are still to come.
Now, it wouldn't be a Joe Biden event without Joe Biden being unable to articulate or say the correct name of the medal that he is giving to these esteemed politicians.
I congratulate the Presidential Freedom Medal recipients and their families. Let's give one more round of applause for this year's Presidential Freedom recipient. She continues to compete this summer at the Paralympics at age 27.
The she he's referring to in that sentence is Katie Ledecky, who's a swimmer who is definitely not competing in the Paralympics. The best I can come up with is he's trying to say that she's in the Paris Olympics upcoming, but who knows in his mind.
And I grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, hearing from my grandpa, whose name was Ambrose Finnegan. And, you know, he was an All-American at Santa Clara playing football back in 1905.
At this point, he just can't help himself. You know his staff is telling him not to talk about his uncle. This is the same uncle who he says was eaten by cannibals after a plane crash.
They called him Uncle Bosie. He was shot down. He was in the Army Air Corps before there was an Air Force. He flew single-engine planes, reconnaissance flights over New Guinea. He had volunteered because someone couldn't make it. He got shot down in an area where there were a lot of cannibals in New Guinea at the time. They never recovered his body, but the government went back when I went down there and they checked and found parts of the plane and the like.
Pentagon records state for unknown reasons this plane was forced to ditch in the ocean off the north coast of New Guinea. Both engines failed at low altitude and the aircraft's nose hit the water hard. The three men failed to emerge from the sinking wreck and were lost in the crash. One crew member survived and was rescued by a passing barge, but not according to the president, who, for reasons no one can explain, has begun spinning this bizarre variation to the story.
He also uses a line that he was the first to go to college in his family, but then also repeatedly says that his uncle was an All-American at Santa Clara playing football. In this clip, there's not really much to it, just a very confused Resident-in-Chief.
And teaching is not what you do, it's who you are. It's who you are. No, for real, I know that. Believe me, I know that. By the way, I actually taught for a number of years in law school, and then I was a professor at the University of Pennsylvania. No, I don't applaud that.
When Joe Biden says he was a professor at the University of Pennsylvania, this is what he actually means.
President Biden calling himself a professor yesterday. Again, despite never teaching a single class, he was given the title Benjamin Franklin Presidential Practice Professor at the University of Pennsylvania, an honorary role that paid him nearly $1 million.
We cut the federal deficit by failing to make the very wealthy and big corporations begin to pay their fair share.
The gap between what the government spends and what it earns widened to $1.7 trillion in the fiscal year that ended last month.
And guess what? The plan we put in place is beginning to work. We've created a record 15 million jobs since I came to office. There was any president has 15 million.
It sounds like people are really happy with the way the economy's going right now. He must have some really good poll numbers.
34% currently approve of Biden's handling of the economy, so significantly lower than his overall job approval. 66% disapprove. And when you ask, how is the economy going today? What's your rating of it? 30% of Americans say it's good. 70% of Americans say it's poor.
While crime rates are down nationally, we've invested a record amount in public safety, violence interruption. We've also done much work to make communities safer.
This is another little statistical trick that they do. Many cities have stopped reporting their crime statistics to the FBI, and then Democrats run around and say that the crime in the cities and overall is down.
America, some concerning numbers from the FBI as crime rates rise around the country. The agency says nearly 40% of law enforcement agencies nationwide did not submit any data to its newly revised crime statistic collection service in 2021, creating huge gaps in national crime stats.